So hello everyone, and I'm Sola. I'm here to talk about our strategic communications course that is coming up on the 20th of August, which is like 2 days from now. Enrollment actually ends today, so if you want to join, just have to sign up today. Otherwise, well, that's it. But it just dawned on me. I wanted to share something that just came into my mind. It just dawned on me that one of the things that we teach in our courses, and particularly in this strategic communications course, because it's the foundation of everything that we do, is that it is a mindset shift from what I would call activity-driven PR and communications to solution-driven practice. That's the mindset shift. And my observation has been that the more you are able to make that shift, first of all, to be aware of the difference between what I would call the agency mindset as opposed to the problem-solving mindset, the more you will make progress in this practice and in this profession. Now, I had done a video last week where I talked about the difference between a PR agency and a communications consulting firm. And one of the key differences between the two is that the consulting firm, like we do, is very much solution oriented. We're about problem solving. We don't just communicate for the sake of communicating. It's not about events, it's not about activities, not about, drawing a campaign, impressions and engagement. It's not nothing like that. And that doesn't mean, for me, sometimes you can come in as a PR agency or as an agency and you're asked to work on something when the strategy is already set. That's fine. We've worked with clients whereby we do the strategy for them. And then when it comes to execution, we help them also get an agency and they do that, and that's fine. But jumping straight to implementation and execute without even understanding why, without, not even addressing the issues that are at stake, for me, that's really funny. And then I think for some of us as practitioners, not even knowing that communications can be used as a problem-solving tool. Anyway, that's all the sort of things we teach in class. So that shifting of a mindset from an event-driven approach to communications to problem-solving, shift of mindset from activity-driven approach to communications to outcome-driven. It's two different things. And then they are learning how to work from problem to solution. So typically, and this is what we teach in the strategic communications framework, when you're dealing with a client or when you're working as a corporate communications professional in your business, in your organization, don't let the business, when the business tells you we want to do this campaign, ask why. Let them tell you what it is they're trying to achieve, because there's a business imperative, there's a strategic imperative. Let them disclose what that is to you. And then let that imperative then determine who you should be engaging, why, when. That's the process. Rather than, I want to be on TV, we're so visible, or our competitor did that, therefore I saw this so and so on Arise, we need to go. That's not the way, because the agenda is different. Do you know why they went? Maybe there was a misinformation campaign going on around them. There's an issue, or they have one strategic thing that they're pursuing. You don't just jump everywhere because other people are doing it. So, and for me, this is the missing link. I think for all of us across the spectrum of the practice, we have to begin to take that problem-solving approach into how we do our communications, regardless of whether people came to you with a problem or not. Ask and find out. Let there be one thing that they will say to you. If this is, I wish this could be this way. And then use that activity, use that event, use that campaign, use that intervention, advocacy program, whatever it is, to tackle that problem. Because when you do it that way, then there will be no issue about how do I quantify the impact of communication. The next time you are coming for a budget, they're going to throw it at you. Now, a lot of what I teach in our courses is what I learned in my 22 years of practice. I give God the glory that one thing that God helped me to learn was how to operate like a consultant, even when I was in paid employment. First of all, the first thing they did for us as a communications team, then we didn't have a budget. So because we didn't have a budget, I had to learn how to go cap in hand to project managers. This was in the oil and gas industry, to sell, first of all, to find out what they were dealing with, what their agenda was for the year. Either I was asked them, what kind of contract signings do you have this year? What projects are you launching? Which milestones do you have? What changes are going on either within your organization or the business? And then when they tell me what they are, what's coming up, I begin to think about it. Okay, what are the audiences? Who are the stakeholders I would like to know about this? Is there anything newsworthy in this? And then we'll build a campaign around it, but then very focused on what the project is trying to achieve. So if it's a business, if it's a project, for instance, that is there's a first oil or first gas or that kind of thing, I would ask, is there a dumb gas? Is there a domestic gas aspect of it? Is there an export gas story here? I would tie it into things that would resonate with key stakeholders like the audience, regulators, local content. I'll say, is there a local content story? Because I understood what the organization was trying to achieve on a broad strategic level. So I would always develop something that was targeted, we would always develop something that was targeted towards whatever the organization or the business is trying to achieve at a macro level. What that did for us was that, first of all, we were very impactful. Over time, some of those things that one struggled with earlier in one's career, when they're saying you don't know how to quantify the impact of your communication. To be honest, for the past 15 years, nobody has ever told me that. You can't quantify. No. Essay a day. Even essay and A and essay. So, because sometimes essay goes into things as essay when I do things, pro bono and all of that. Sometimes I do things as of course, a lot of times I do things as essay and A. Either as essay, personal brand, or essay and A. I don't know when last somebody told me, Sola, you can't see the impact of what you did. How? Please explain. We never have to justify impact because we work from problem to solution. If we are unable to, and this is the thing, if the client comes or whoever, even in my paid employment life, if they come with a challenge and I cannot see a road, in fact, this happens a lot in my consulting life, where people have come to me and I tell them, I say, no, I don't think there's any way out of this. This is where I think this is going to go. You have to prepare yourself. And then they disagree with me, and then, of course, we go our separate ways. That usually is in my pro bono essay life, crisis management, because I don't do crisis management consulting. We do crisis management training and competence development and framework. So to build your capacity for crisis management, yes, come to us. But for crisis management, I don't consult in a live crisis paid. We do it pro bono because, first of all, you know what it is. People have different values. I cannot, put myself in a situation whereby I believe in doing the right thing. You want to do something else, so it's just that kind of thing. So that's an aside. But the point is that it is the strategic communications framework, the problem-solving, critical thinking approach that we have learned and we have honed our practice in. Therefore, impact for us is not a problem. It's not negotiable. It's non-contestable. It is visible. Because if we are faced with a problem that we believe we cannot tackle, or we cannot see a way in which communications alone will play a strong part or a significant part in solving or resolving this problem, we will tell you, no, I think this is more of an operational issue. This is more of a business issue. You guys sort out the business, and then when you've sorted out the business, perhaps there will be an intervention for us to do in communications. That's the way to think. But when you are going with an agency mindset, you will never tell your client that. So they come with you and they say they want to run a campaign, whereas that campaign is not going to solve anything. The problem, like you have a bad product, you want to PR your way out of a bad product. Tell them to fix the problem first. Fix your product first. And then get the data that shows that your product is fixed. And then we can then do a campaign. That's the difference, the mindset shift. And it looks like it may be a long way to, it looks like, if someone wants to pay money, let him spend his money. Yeah, but what happens is that you will have dissatisfied customers that will never come back. And that doesn't happen to anybody that is working with the problem-solving mindset. So that's really what we're going to be teaching in August 28th. Now, it's also dawned on me in recent weeks that this mindset is important for two categories of people. So if you stay with your PR agency or your agency mindset, let me just leave it that way, you will always get jobs from people who don't know better. So they will come to you, let's do balls, and you get away with you get those jobs. You are hardly likely to get a referral or a repeat from that same client, hardly, except if it's one of those clients that all they just want is buzz, or there's somebody else working the strategic side so their strategy is already clear, so that they already had you to just come in and implement. But if there was no strategy behind what they were doing, you're just doing aimless promotion, aimless whatever, by the time they see that they spent all this money and nothing has come out of it, they're not going to come back to you. So to be honest, and now that's if you are an external agency, you're working for an agency. But if you are working in a corporate communications role, in business organization or whatever, that is very risky for you to operate that way. Because if your sponsors, your business leaders or your organizational leaders or your institutional leaders, either you're in development space, in non-profits or private sector, institutional, public sector, they find out that funding you is a waste of money, that you are finished. Your credibility with that, sit at the table, forget it. You'll be in the backyard. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the day they find out that penny, every dollar or whatever, every cent they put, or kobo, whatever you say, CD, that they put into funding communications or PR, strategic PR, it solves a problem for them. It eases the space. It creates space for the business, for the brand. It opens doors to new opportunities. They're going to be pumping money to you. I mean, there are certain things that I thank God for this, that has gone out of our scope. Number one, which is where we don't have dissatisfied clients. Number two, we often have repeat people with our courses. The same thing. We have a lot of people who take one course, take two courses. In fact, we have more repeats than people who do just one and go away. The same thing also with funding. You will always have people ready to put money behind your projects, to fund communications through you. Why? Because you are solving problems. You are attacking the pain points of the business and the organization. You are doing communications for impact, communications for influence, communications for advocacy, communications for opportunity. And you start every conversation with a blank sheet. You do not make any assumptions. You don't do copy and paste. So you are not copying and paste the promotion that you did for this company into another company. You are listening afresh and understanding, putting yourself in their shoes, understanding what is going on there, and then diagnosing based on what you're hearing and the data that you're getting from outside, and coming up with programs that are very targeted towards audiences and stakeholders that enable that business and that organization to solve their problems, to go where they could not go before, to do what they were unable to do or they were struggling to do. Are you getting me? That's what we're going to be talking about on August 28th. Now, if you are a corporate communications person, you have to operate like this. You cannot be working in a corporate communications role with agency mindset. That's career suicide. It's career suicide, honestly. So that's sort of like the the aha moment that I had this week about how dangerous it is to work with an agency mindset in a corporate or in a communications role, like that you're working within an organization and you're supporting them full time. You can get away with the agency mindset if you're working in a PR agency, but you really should not have that kind of mindset if you are working for an organization that is expecting you to use communications to make their business better, just like every other function, HR, finance, commercial, contracting, just like every other function is doing, or legal. So you have to carry your own weight. And that's what we'll teach you on August 28th. How to pull your weight as a communications professional and to not be in that position where, you are struggling to show the impact of what you do or convincing people to fund communications for the year because they are unclear of what business impact that it will make. So look forward to seeing you. This is the last call. If you want to join us, you have to register and enroll before midnight today, West Africa time. Otherwise, well, till next time. Thank you, sir, and take care.